Hello folks, this is Sullla once again. You're listening to a video for League of Legends. This video is going to be featuring Yuumi. Yuumi's the newest champion in League of Legends as I record this video. And this is actually going to be a Yuumi mirror match. This is a video that was sent to me by Drill Warrior and Resniak, who are duo queuing together. They are often in our custom YouTube League of Legends matches that we do on Tuesday nights. And they've sent me this video. It is going to be a Yuumi mirror match, as I mentioned. We're going to have a Kai'Sa Yuumi lane on one side and a Kai'Sa Yuumi lane on the other side. The one nice thing is that there are running different skins on the Kai'Sa on either side, so hopefully we'll be able to tell them apart a little bit better. Let me go ahead and set up the scoreboard here, just so we can get this mirror match set up, and then we can watch these two sides as they compete back and forth. So one thing about Yuumi, she is a pretty unique champion. She is, as I mentioned, the newest support champion right now. She has a mechanic that's totally different from any other champion in League of Legends, and this works off of her W skill, which I'll just highlight here real quick. She attaches to allies, and when she's attached to an ally, they each gain 5% of the other's bonus AD or AP, converted to adaptive force. And she can activate this again to dash to another ally champion or detach from her current friend, as it says. You do not need to put a point in this skill. This is always active. You might notice that Yuumi actually has two different skills active at level 1. So most of the time, Yuumi will attach to another champion and will spend most of her time attached to that champion. While Yuumi is attached, some of her skills work a little bit differently. Her Q in particular, which is her main damage source, becomes a controlled skill shot. Literally, you control it with the mouse cursor. It is quite weird, and like I said, there's not really any other skills that quite work like this. So she is a unique champion. Also, take a look quickly at what Resniak is running in terms of his summoners. He is not running Flash, he's running Heal, Ignite, and similarly, the Yuumi on the other side is running Ignite, Exhaust. So yeah, the convention has developed that Yuumi does not run Flash because she just jumps into another allied champion with her W, so she doesn't really need it. As I mentioned, a very unique champion, still quite new as I'm recording this video. Her win rate is very low, but I think that's partly because people are not used to playing her yet. The early word is that she's pretty good if you can get some experience playing her. And we're going to get to see a lot of Yuumi footage in this game because it is the Yuumi mirror match. Okay, so just to give you the lanes real quick. Up in top lane, there's a Diana player against an Alawi player. In mid, it is a Zed versus Fizz match, so a lot of assassins. We have a jungle Kayn against a jungle Jarvan, and then as the aforementioned Kai'Sa Yuumi mirror match down in the bottom lane. So let's go ahead and try to take a look at some of the abilities on Yuumi. I will go ahead and first start by highlighting her passive. Bop and Block, these are some great ability names, by the way. Bop and Block, Yuumi's attacks against the champions grant her a damage shield and restore mana. The effect has a lengthy cooldown, about a 20-second cooldown. Shield will follow Yuumi until broken, will also protect her attached ally while she has one. So in other words, every 20 seconds or so, when she auto-attacks an enemy champion, she gets a damage shield, and she also gets a fair amount of mana back. We also have First Blood claimed by who actually picked that up? That was picked up by the Zed player, so that's a good start for Drill Warrior and Resniak's team right there. Anyway, pretty straightforward, long cooldown. You get a damage shield for auto-attacking. Let's see if we can watch it trigger. So it's going to come off cooldown here for Resniak, so the next time he auto-attacks an enemy champion, he'll get that shield and he'll also get some of his mana back again. And looks like he just got that off right there. So yeah, you see the little damage shield that he gets there when he triggers his passive. And that is the Bop and Block ability, which both of these champions have. Anyway, Fizz is roaming down to mid, so Drill Warrior is going to flash away. Also gets the speed boost from Yuumi, which we'll talk more about in a minute. And the enemy Kai'Sa player got super duper low, but was not quite finished off in that play. So it does end up surviving. Now Kai'Sa's low. She's going to have to use... looks like she got the speed up boost from the Yuumi there as well. I thought I heard the heal sound effect, but looks like heal was not in fact used there. And so we're going to get that dash away. And a nice defense against the Fizz roam. Just keep in mind that it did require Drill Warrior to blow his flash, and Resniak ended up using his heal. Okay, so we already mentioned the W. The W is what you do how you attach to... this is kind of Yuumi's basic ability. This is how you attach to allies. However, it doesn't really do any damage. So let's look at what her actual damaging skill is right here. Prowling Projectile is the Q. It is the kind of gold-colored skill shot you see. Well, they're actually in the middle of a damage hit. So he's going to come out on top. Drill Warrior is going to go down, and now this is the one problem is if your attached ally dies as Yuumi, you don't have flash, you don't really have a way to get out. So quite frequently when you kill Yuumi's attached ally, you end up killing Yuumi as well. Did not happen there, but that is a very frequent occurrence, is when Yuumi's partner dies, Yuumi ends up dying as well. Resniak's trying to go back to base, but it looks like that's going to be interrupted. There's the Q, by the way. That is the prowling projectile. It's pretty basic skill shot, at least in terms of how it comes out initially. So I did want to highlight that. As it says, Yuumi summons a missile, deals magic damage to the first enemy hit. If the missile travels for 1 second before impacting, deals additional magic damage and slows, which then decays over the next about 1.5 seconds. If cast while attached, Yuumi can control the missile using her mouse. So that's kind of the signature ability. Obviously, while Yuumi's attached to an enemy champion, Yuumi is not moving, so you can then use the mouse cursor to do something else, and what you can do is use it to control the path of this Q. Very, very annoying when this happens. You can kind of move it around minion waves, or kind of thread it through very narrow, like you can thread it through the minions here. It does have a set range. It is pretty good range, but it will stop eventually. Also, it stops if it hits any target. So if an enemy minion would get hit, then it will block the projectile. That is one way to stop this, is hide behind minions. However, it is, if Yuumi's attached, she can guide. There it is, by the way. You just saw the range, and there's the range again. So it looks like it's about 1,000 range, roughly. Don't quote me on that, but I would assume it's roughly in that area. We also have Jarvan lurking around for a gank, so let's see if he's able to go for this. Oh, Drill Warrior and Resniak going in. That's unfortunate. They just used that speed boost forward that Kai'Sa has, and unfortunately, no flash on Drill Warrior, so he is going to get popped here. And now Resniak, who does not have flash because he's Yuumi, is also going to fall. And that's a pretty easy double kill for the enemy team. Jarvan in the right place at the right time there to counter that gank. Drill Warrior went in. He had no way to get out because he didn't have his flash up. And Resniak had no ally to hop to with the Yuumi W. So that turns into a very easy double kill. And this enemy Kai'Sa is off to a great start. 3-0-0. And it went for the early tiers. It looks like it's going to be an AP Kai'Sa. Something you don't see as much now. You used to see that more back in Season 8. Not so popular nowadays. But it does look like that's going to be the build path. Either that or it's going for a mana immune, and that just feels like a really weird build path for Kai'Sa to head down. So they're coming back to lane right now. We already mentioned the Q. One other thing about the prowling projectile that I should talk about, and you see there's the being shaped, gets the slowdown there. Resniak maneuvering the Q around the minions in a really weird path to get in that slow. I'll also mention, because you get a free point in your W at level 1, you don't have to put a skill point in it. Yuumi always has the W active. You actually get an additional skill point to spend, and you can actually put 6 points in the Q. That has emerged as the standard path for people to do when playing Yuumi. Each point in the skill slot drops the cooldown by 1 second, also increases the damage. I believe it also increases the slow amounts, although I will have to check that as Resniak levels up and gets 4 points in the skill. Yes, it does increase the slow amount, because before it was at 48%. Now it's at 56%. So it looks like it starts at a 40% slow, goes up by 8% with each point in the skill. So I guess you can get that up to about an 80% slow in that range once you max out the skill. So anyway, this is her bread and butter skill. When you're playing Yuumi, most of what you're doing is going to be based on using the Q and then also hopping to enemies via the W. Now, there was just a double kill for the enemy Fizz, and Red Team's actually out to a pretty good lead early on. 1,000 gold lead, and they also, 1,000 gold lead. I was going to say I thought they took the first dragon, but no, they did not take it. Probably should have taken the Ocean Drake on the back of that double kill down in the bottom lane, but they did not claim it. And so it is just about a 1,000 gold lead. Not as big in terms of actual gold as it looks in the 7-2 score line. Okay, let's look at some of the other skills on Yuumi. I'm going to go ahead and highlight her E. We've seen this used a couple times, but I didn't comment on it before. E is named Zoomies. Yuumi heals herself. Increased heal based on missing health. Also gains movement speed. If Yuumi is attached, this spell affects the ally instead. So this is, of course, two really basic uses. Oh, there we see a nice Q bent around the minion wave right there. Good damage traded back, though, on the part of the enemy Kai'Sa player on Red Team's side. And we're going to see another Q goes in. Look at the big slow as it hits, but enemy Yuumi just hops onto the enemy Kai'Sa, easily able to get out of that. However, Kayn is coming down. He's going to try to initiate by going over the wall. Looks like he's focusing on the enemy Yuumi, but Yuumi's going to pop in, use her ultimate, and that root is going to hit. We're going to see a 1-for-1 there. Now, can they chase down the kill on the enemy Yuumi? Yes, they can. Once again, once Yuumi's partner dies, Yuumi almost always ends up dying as well, and it turns into a 2-for-1 trade. Nicely done on the part of Resniak and Drill Warrior, and of course props to their Kayn jungler as well. However, Jarvan is lurking, and it looks like they did use most of their summoners in that last fight, so let's see if they can escape. They've got the Jarvan, and Fizz is run down as well. Nice flash, and there is the Yuumi ultimate getting the double root right there from Resniak. However, the Fizz ult is going to land, and once that lands, yep, they're going to have enough damage to finish that off. So a really good initial use of that Yuumi ultimate in order to get the root on the Jarvan and the Fizz. But Fizz lands his skill shot, lands his Chum the Waters. I always thought it was Churn the Waters. Well, I guess it's Chum the Waters. Lands that Chum the Waters, Jarvan's able to follow up, and so it does turn into 2 more kills. And it's actually not a great start to the game from Drill Warrior and Resniak, as they've fallen a little bit behind. Where are they in terms of gold? Yeah, they're about 500 gold behind in this bottom lane. Not terribly far behind, but they are trailing the other team. So let's get back to the skills that we were talking about before we got interrupted by that fight. Mention that Yuumi is her heal, and it's also a movement speed bonus. Spell will carry up to 2 charges, and Yuumi gains a charge every, I think it starts at 15 seconds, and then it goes down as she gets a cooldown reduction. So very useful skill, both because it provides a heal, and also, really usefully, it also provides a really brief movement speed bonus. And this is quite nice for dodging enemy skill shots. Like right when Yuumi's partner looks like she's going to get hit, you use this and you dash. You see it being used right there by the enemy Yuumi as well. And since you can carry 2 charges, you can actually get two dodges right there if you use the speed boost back-to-back. The enemy Yuumi is actually maxing Yuumi's first, also kind of strangely putting points in W, which is not what you were supposed to do. Might just be playing this champ for the first time. This is a blind pick game right now, so probably just experimenting with Yuumi, but the E is not really what people level up first. People generally level up the Q first. Anyway, Drill Warrior is going in, picking the fight. We're going to see the Yuumi ult coming out on one side, and now we're going to have, was this double ultimate? No, the Resniak has not used his ult, so he's still got that up. Does not need to use it, and they're going to end up cleaning that kill. Let's go back and watch this again at half speed, because there was a lot going on here. Alright, so we'll slow it down to half speed. We get the initial damage going onto the enemy Kai'Sa, who gets quite low. Now we're going to see the enemy Yuumi ult come out. Drill Warrior is going to dash with the Kai'Sa ultimate to dodge the root. Resniak does get rooted, but it is going to be enough to get the first kill, and then, again, once the initial kill is claimed, there's not much the enemy Yuumi can do. Look at that Q dashing around, trying to land it. There it goes. Resniak is going to land it. He might have wanted to keep that in the air for the full second, because if you can keep the Q in the air for a second, remember, it deals extra damage and gets the slow effect. You do not get that slow effect unless the Q has been in the air for a full minute. Ooh, so a close fight there, but Resniak and Drill Warrior do come out on top. They get 2 kills, and wow, Fizz is back here again. Man, this Fizz has been roaming an awful lot. We're going to see the root coming out, and there it is. So it does get the 3rd wave off for the root. I should probably talk about the nice use of the carrot right there. Oh, we're going to get the slow from the Yuumi Q right there, but it's not going to be enough. Shindog is going to escape. He has been out of mid an awful lot. Only 45 CS at the 12-minute mark. Does have 5 kills, but you know, you just at some point you just need to stay in lane and farm at least a little bit. So that Fizz is probably weaker than he should be because he's roaming so much. Anyway, let's go and look at the actual ultimate for Yuumi because we've seen it a bunch of times. This is called Final Chapter. Yuumi channels for 3.5 seconds, launches 5 waves that deal magic damage. Extra missiles only deal 50% damage. So if you hit people with more than 1 missile, it does deal half damage. Champions hit by 3 or more waves are rooted for 1.75 seconds. I would say it is most similar to a Sona ultimate in the sense that like you shoot out a straight line skill shot that deals waves of magic damage. The difference from a Sona ultimate is it is a longer effect. It's channeled for 3.5 seconds. They kind of need to get hit by multiple waves to get that root, as opposed to Sona where it's just like that one initial burst on her crescendo that then stuns enemies if they get hit. Well, I guess technically they're not stunned. Technically they dance in the Sona ultimate, but you get the idea. Pretty much the same thing. So you can't like flash ult in the way that you would flash ult with the Sona ultimate. However, what Yuumi's ult does do is she can move and cast it. She can move and cast You and Me and Zoomies while channeling. So she can what is it? She can cast You and Me. Which one's You and Me? This one. This is her W. She can cast her W while she's using her ultimate, so she can dash into another target, and she can also cast her E, her Zoomies, while she has this running. So, like I said, similar to a Sona ultimate, but some key differences. All right, there we go. There's getting the 3 waves for the root. Now lands the root on the Jarvan as well, so that's 1 kill, and not going to turn into another kill, as able to escape with the blast cone over the wall right there. So it's a quite useful ultimate. It's a really good defensive ultimate. Like, it's not quite so strong offensively because it's kind of hard to hit people with it, but it is a fantastic defensive ult. Someone's trying to dive you, well, you just use the final chapter and shut down their attempt to kill you. So this is one of the reasons why I think Yuumi tends to pair pretty well with like scaling AD champions, because it provides additional protection. Well, not going to be enough protection right there. No use of the ultimate up right there. So Resniak and Drill Warrior are both going to get finished off right there. They did not have their skills up because they just used them in the last team fight. And now the team fight is continuing, but it's really not going well for blue team thus far. And Kane's going to try to use his ult. Wow, actually they're able to turn it around in a real hurry there and get the shutdown. It wasn't going very well, but they managed to get 2 kills at the end of that. Kane hopping into an enemy champion for that brief period of invulnerability, and then Diana just barely managing to finish off a kill before she gets popped at the very end of that. So turns into an extended 2-for-2 overall in the longer fight. Enemy Yuumi doing her best to try and survive that, but not quite. Even though she did use the double summoner, still not quite enough to do better than a 2-for-2 trade. And we got a pretty even game right here, basically dead even in gold. Right now, Drill Warrior is going to come in. There is the slow landing onto the enemy Alawi. And we're going to see Drill Warrior use his ultimate. Ooh, that's not so great. Right into the middle of the Alawi ult. So, yeah, maybe not the best. We are going to see the root there landing from Yuumi. And is this going to be enough damage to finish off the Alawi? Yes. Resniak gets the kill, who maybe is not who they wanted to get that kill. Note as well that when Resniak's partner, when Drill Warrior got killed, he just hops right into the next partner, hopping into the Diana player. And again, that's kind of what you want to do with Yuumi. Yuumi is, of course, very squishy, as you would expect for a, little support champion. So she wants to generally spend her time hopping into and out of allied champions with her W, with the you and me. She doesn't really want to be out there by herself. She is extremely vulnerable if she's just off by herself. So, sometimes you want to strategically hop out of your allied champion so that you can, apply your passive with her auto attack. But generally speaking, you want to spend most of your time hopping into and out of your allied champions because you are much less vulnerable when that is the case. Enemy team is pushing on this tower here in mid, and we're going to see that hop right in to the enemy team's Kai'Sa player. There is the Yuumi ultimate. Not going to hit anything because Kane dodges it by using his own ult to jump inside. But we have a lot of people hopping inside enemy champions in this game. Pretty funny to see that happening. And yeah, you get the standard use of the Yuumi Q right there. And there's another dash in, using the dash in order to dodge the Fizz ultimate. So we're seeing more of that right there. I should talk a little bit about the build path. I already talked a little bit about the skilling order for Yuumi as a champion. The skilling order is max Q first, and that does involve getting 6 points in your Q. Right there, Resniak had to hop out because he was pulling tower aggression after hitting the Fizz with his Q right there. And we're going to see the initiation, but they really seem to want to finish off this tower, but not quite enough damage. They're going to have to back off there. So as I was saying, max your Q first. Don't put any points in your W. The W is free. You don't put any points in it. Just put points in your Q, and then if you can't put points in your Q, put them in your E. Obviously, scale your ultimate when it's available at levels 6, 11, and 16. And that's about it. More points in the W does give you, I believe, a higher percentage of shared attack damage and ability power, but the consensus thus far is that that's not very good, and that the 1 free point you get at level 1 is all that you really need as far as that you and me ability on the W. So just take your free point and put your actual points in more useful stuff in the Q and then in the E. Okay, so we're going to see the Q land on Alawi, get the slow, and then the enemy Yuumi hops into Alawi and gets the speed up on the Zoomies, gets that heal and the speed up. So we're seeing a lot of that. Alawi uses her ability to pull the spirit out of the enemy champ, gets that slow on the Diana and the additional damage. So looks like we're setting up for a big-time team fight here. Kane is standing on a ward, probably doesn't know that he's there. Alawi's running forward, though, going to use that ability on Drill Warrior, pull out the heroes that test the spirit ability, and now we've got the big team fight. So we're going to see the initial ult used, Yuumi ult, dueling Yuumi ults on both sides. Now we're going to see more damage applied, and they're desperately trying to finish off the enemy Kai'Sa. They do get that, so that is a 2-for-0. Now the Jarvan player is kind of stuck. He's going to get slowed by the Yuumi Q. Are they going to be able to chase this one down? Doesn't seem like it. Not with the enemy Yuumi hopping into Jarvan as well, providing the Zoomies heal and the movement speed bonus. But I think this is going to be enough for blue team to get this tower in mid. It is on 1 hit. There it goes. They're going to get that. And let's see if they can chase this down. Just barely dashing out of the Crescent Sweep from Diana. There's a knockup from Kane. It's going to turn into a bigger fight. Oh, we got Yuumi flying around on both sides right now. I do think that the Zed may have overchased a little bit, though. He is getting awful low. looks like he's going to make it out with a little help from the Yuumi heal on the zoomies. This fight just continues. We actually have a second turret taken out right there by Drill Warrior, which is probably a better use for the time of blue team than continuing this fight. And it is going to be a disengage, but blue team got 2 towers off of that and ended up having a really good fight. It's actually kind of difficult keeping track of what's going on in this game with the double Yuumis. And it looks like the client just crashed. Oh boy, that's not good. So we might have an end to this video right here. Oh boy. Okay, well, maybe we'll just have to stop it here because it looks like this replay has crashed on me at the 20-minute mark, but I think I would rather just use the footage that I have here as opposed to not putting up a Yuumi video. So, sorry you don't get to see the end of this one, but we'll stop it here and make use of the Yuumi footage that we do have available. So, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Didn't know that this replay was going to crash on me, but I hope you enjoyed the abbreviated video regardless. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys soon. Have a good one. Take care.